Nobody warns you properly about debt in America. You think you understand it. You think you can control it. But the reality is subtle, hidden, and relentless. Debt doesn't scream. Debt doesn't beg. Debt moves quietly, silently, behind the digital screens of your banking apps and credit card accounts. And most people never notice until it's too late. Jason was just an ordinary man. He lived in a small apartment, worked a steady 9-to-5 job, and had bills that, most months, were manageable. He paid his rent, he bought groceries, he even saved a small amount each month, enough to make him feel safe. But life has a way of creating cracks in even the strongest routines. A car repair, a small medical expense, or a few late shifts at work, and suddenly that sense of control begins to slip. One morning, Jason opened his credit card app and saw the balance he owed: $247. He felt a familiar weight in his chest. The numbers stared back at him, sharp, immovable, accusing. He sighed, closed the app. "I'll pay it next month," he whispered to himself. Harmless words, he thought. Temporary, a momentary lapse. But that single act, closing the app, would trigger a chain of events that he would never fully escape. The first 30 days passed without dramatic consequences. He told himself everything was fine. There was no flashing alert, no phone call, no siren announcing that his financial life had quietly shifted. But behind the digital screens, the gears of the American financial system had begun to turn. His lender reported him to the 3 major credit bureaus: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Within hours, his financial reliability, his reputation in the system, had already changed. Jason didn't notice at first. A few days later, curiosity drew him to check his credit score. He froze. The number had dropped sharply, more than 80 points. That number was more than just a number. It was a measure of trust, of opportunity, of doors that would remain open or closed for the foreseeable future. Mortgages, car loans, insurance applications, even potential rental apartments. Each of these would now see that drop and treat him differently. But Jason told himself it didn't matter. He wasn't applying for a mortgage. He didn't need a car loan. It was just a number, a technical detail, a minor setback. And then the second month began. Now the calls started. They were polite at first, professional, almost sympathetic. But the volume increased. Emails stacked in his inbox, each one more urgent than the last. Letters arrived with bold red warnings and phrases that made his stomach tighten before he even opened them. Every phone ring became a source of anxiety. Interest continued to compound daily. Fees were tacked onto the balance silently. And what he had considered a small mistake was now quietly growing into a problem far beyond his control. Jason tried to avoid it. Avoidance became a strategy. He stopped checking the banking app. He ignored emails. He placed letters unopened in a drawer. But avoidance never solves the problem. It only allows it to fester, grow, and gain strength in the shadows. 3 months later, the friendly reminders had disappeared. His account had been categorized as seriously delinquent. He was no longer just behind on payments. He was high risk. And in the eyes of lenders, high risk is a label that carries consequences. Applications for anything new credit cards, loans, even apartments, would now be scrutinized more carefully. Every attempt to borrow money would be weighed against that delinquency. Jason's personal life began to feel the pressure. Small moments of tension grew. Every envelope he touched, every notification on his phone, felt like a threat. The stress leaked into his daily routines. His coworkers noticed subtle changes in his demeanor. Sleep became interrupted. Anxiety gnawed at the edges of his mind. What had started as a small, seemingly harmless delay was now a source of persistent psychological stress. for months in, and the situation escalated further. One afternoon, Jason received a thick envelope. It read, "Account charged off." Relief almost escaped him until he understood the meaning. A charge-off is not forgiveness. It is an accounting declaration that the lender does not expect repayment. But legally, the debt still exists. And often, that debt is sold. And when it is sold, the new owner is a collection agency whose sole purpose is to recover the balance, now with full legal rights to pursue him. The phone calls changed. They became strategic, persistent, carefully worded to elicit responses. Settlement offers appeared. Threats were implied. His credit report now showed late payments, a charge-off, and a collection entry. The score dropped further. Renting a new apartment became difficult. Insurance rates climbed. Life, which had seemed so manageable, now felt constricted, as if invisible walls were slowly closing in around him. Jason tried to pretend it wasn't happening, but avoidance was no longer a shield. Silence allowed the process to escalate. 6 months later, a court summons arrived. Legal action had been filed. Panic set in. Fear paralyzed him. He considered lawyers. He considered responding, but he froze. The default judgment was issued. The creditor now had legal power over his earnings and bank accounts. And the first real shock came shortly after. Jason logged into his paycheck portal and froze. A percentage of his income had been automatically redirected, wage garnishment. Rent payments, groceries, bills, all tightened immediately. Weeks later, his bank account was temporarily frozen for verification of funds for potential levy. Auto payments bounced. Notifications of missed payments continued to arrive. The system he had ignored now controlled his life. This was the moment most people never see coming. Debt doesn't scream, but it grows teeth when ignored. Jason's small mistake had snowballed into a machine of financial pressure that could touch every part of his life. Work, home, daily routines, sleep, mental health. And yet, here's the hidden truth. Even now, there is a path back. Negotiation, settlement, structured repayment. These are still possible. The system is harsh, but it is predictable. And predictability means strategy can exist. Jason picked up the phone. He faced the calls. He structured his payments. He built a small emergency fund. He learned the rules, the timelines, the levers of the system. Slowly, step by step, his life began to stabilize. Recovery was not instant. It was strategic. It was deliberate. It was painfully earned. Jason had reached the lowest point. His paycheck had been partially garnished. His credit report was battered with late payments, charge-offs, and collections. Every day felt like a reminder of failure. But in that moment, he realized something crucial. Fear had only made the situation worse. The system was not personal, but it was predictable. And predictability meant action could reclaim control. He started small. He listed all debts, all creditors, and all outstanding balances. He calculated minimum payments, interest rates, and fees. He prioritized debts not by size, but by impact. Those that affected his credit score most, and those with the highest legal risk. For the first time, he could see a clear path. Jason began contacting lenders. He asked for hardship programs, explained his situation, and requested structured payment plans. Some offers were reduced balances. Some were temporary forbearance. Each negotiation, though intimidating, became a step toward regaining control. Slowly, the overwhelming mountain became a series of manageable hills. Simultaneously, he rebuilt habits. He created a strict budget, cut unnecessary spending, set aside even a small emergency fund. Each dollar saved was a small victory against the system that had threatened to overwhelm him. His mental health improved, because for the first time, He felt he was acting rather than running. Months passed. Payments were consistent. Credit bureaus began updating positive activity. His score started creeping upward. Jason learned that the system did not reward panic or inaction. It rewarded structured, consistent action. Over time, his recovery created opportunities. Lenders were willing to approve new credit cautiously. Insurance rates stabilized. Rental applications no longer triggered immediate concern. The emotional transformation was profound. Jason moved from fear and avoidance to strategy and empowerment. Each call he made, each payment he scheduled, became a statement. He was no longer controlled by debt. He was actively navigating the rules of the system. He realized a crucial truth. Debt in America is mechanical. It punishes inaction, yes, but it also responds predictably to action. By understanding the process, timing, and rules, he could regain stability. The invisible forces that had once crushed him were now tools he could manipulate. Jason's story also illustrates the psychological journey that most Americans overlook. The first missed payment feels temporary. The late notices feel like minor stress. But if ignored, small errors compound into life-altering consequences. The system exploits silence, not error. Facing debt is not just about money. It is about reclaiming control, restoring trust, and reshaping your life. Each action taken to address debt strengthens resilience, financial literacy, and confidence. Jason went from a state of helplessness to strategic empowerment, proving that knowledge and action are far more powerful than fear. The lesson for the audience is clear. Debt itself is neutral. Ignoring it allows escalation. Facing it allows control. Fear is temporary. Strategy is permanent. And while the path may be uncomfortable, predictable steps, communication, and persistence can transform a nightmare into a structured recovery. By the end of his journey, Jason no longer saw debt as an enemy, but as a system he could navigate. He had learned the mechanics, the timelines, and the tools needed to act before consequences spiraled out of control. He knew that even when failure seemed absolute, predictable action could restore balance, opportunity, and stability. Debt in America is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of understanding, discipline, and action. Jason's story teaches one ultimate truth. The difference between being trapped and being in control is never the money owed. It is the willingness to confront reality, act decisively, and rebuild strategically. And so, for anyone watching, the first late payment is never the end. Silence is the real danger. Confront it, act fast, and take control. The system does not stop for fear, but it rewards strategy. As you just saw Jason's story unfold, it may have felt like a cautionary tale, but it isn't just about him. It's about a reality that affects millions of Americans every single day. And here's the hard truth. Anyone can slip into his shoes if they ignore small mistakes. But the good news? You don't have to. The first step is awareness. Most people don't realize how quickly small missed payments escalate. One day, you're busy, a bill slips your mind, and it feels harmless. But the moment you ignore it, the system silently marks it, reports it, and begins a countdown. Awareness means knowing the timeline. 30 days late, 60 days late, 90 days late, charge off, collections, garnishment. Knowing these steps doesn't just inform you, it arms you with foresight. Step 2 is never let fear paralyze action. Like Jason, many people freeze at the sight of calls, letters, or notifications. Silence may feel safe, but it allows escalation. Instead, pick up the phone. Respond to emails. Open letters immediately. Understand what each notice means. Even if you can't pay the full balance immediately, Communication changes the trajectory. Lenders and creditors are human too. They prefer dialogue over inaction. Step 3 is strategic planning. Don't just pay bills randomly. Track all debts in a simple list. Note balances, interest rates, due dates, and potential legal risks. Prioritize debts that affect your credit score most and those with immediate legal consequences. Structured payments, even small ones, signal responsibility. The system rewards consistency. Step 4 is leverage hardship programs and negotiation. Many lenders offer hardship plans, deferments, or temporary interest reductions. Don't assume you don't qualify. Ask. Negotiate. Even partial settlements can prevent charge-offs or legal escalation. These programs are designed for real people facing temporary setbacks. Use them. Step 5 is rebuild and protect your financial habits. Create a budget that accounts for necessities, bills, and emergency savings. Automate payments to prevent future misses. Avoid impulse spending during high-risk months. The discipline you build now protects you from being the next Jason. Step 6 is monitor your credit actively. Check your credit reports regularly from Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Spot errors. Confirm that reported late payments are accurate. Catching discrepancies early can save thousands and prevent unnecessary escalation. Step 7 is know the warning signs of escalation. A charge-off is serious. Collections calls are serious. Legal notices are serious. Don't wait for garnishment to begin. Early action always preserves options. And finally, the psychological lesson. Fear is temporary, but action is permanent. The system itself doesn't punish fear, it punishes inaction. But every step you take, every call you make, every negotiation you engage in, rebuilds your control. You don't have to be a financial genius. You just need awareness, courage, and consistency. Jason's story ended with him reclaiming control, but your story can start differently. You can start today by knowing the system, acting immediately when a payment is late, communicating openly, and planning strategically. By doing this, you prevent small mistakes from snowballing into life-altering crises. The ultimate lesson? The system will always move. But if you move with it, act with it, and use its rules to your advantage, you will not be trapped. You will be empowered. And that empowerment, that control over your own finances, is far more valuable than any temporary comfort of ignoring the problem. If Jason's story taught you something today, if you now understand how small mistakes can snowball into big problems, or if you learn the steps to protect yourself from financial traps, then don't just watch and forget. Hit that like button to show you care about your financial future, and subscribe to stay ahead of the system so you never miss another lesson that could change your life. Remember, awareness and action are the first steps to control. Take them now and take control of your financial story.
Goodbye. See you in next video.